Page 23. Ralph wheeled his motorcycle back from the edge of the porch, but in line with one of the concrete ramps. High speed would be best, he decided. Speed fast enough to carry him over the edge without wobbling, so that he would land on the ramp on both wheels. Ralph's heart was pounding as he mounted his motorcycle, but his head was cool and his paws steady on the handle grips. Ralph drew a deep breath. His paws tightened on the handle grips. He rode smoothly toward the edge of the porch. He held his breath as he shot out into space as he had planned. There was a sudden heart-shaking drop before the tires hit the ramp. At this point, everything went wrong. Before Ralph realized what was happening, the motorcycle shot down the ramp, which was worn smooth by the many children who had slid down it. Ralph flew into the air and fell upside down into the shrub. He lost his grip on the motorcycle and felt himself brushed by leaves and scratched by twigs until he came to rest, wedged into the crotch of a small branch. His helmet had fallen off. One ear was scratched, and he was badly frightened. But he was not injured. When Ralph had caught his breath, and his heart no longer pounded against his ribs, he boosted himself up so that he was sitting in the crotch of the twig. The shrub was not the leafy cushion he had expected. From his perch in the center, he could see that the leaves grew only at the tips of the twigs, and that the bush, which had looked soft and springy from the outside, was on the inside leafless and spiky with dead twigs. "My motorcycle," thought Ralph frantically. "Where is it?" Then he saw it, far above his head, hanging on a twig by its back wheel. His helmet, however, had bounced to the ground. Ralph did the only thing he could do, and that was climb up to his motorcycle and start chewing. The twig that held the motorcycle had a dry and dusty taste, but Ralph chewed until it snapped, and the motorcycle slid down to the crotch of the twig below. Ralph climbed down, and when he could not free the motorcycle with his paws, he started chewing once more. No little cousin was ever going to say to him, "What happened to your motorcycle, Ralph, huh? What happened to your motorcycle?" Ralph chewed his motorcycle from one twig to the next, and the lower he went, the thicker the twigs became. By the time the motorcycle finally dropped to the ground beside the helmet, Ralph's jaws ached. He dragged the motorcycle across the weedy patch of lawn to the driveway, and was about to mount when the door of the hotel unexpectedly opened, and old Matt, in pajamas and bathrobe, stepped out on the porch and looked around. The little fella must have managed to get his motorcycle down the steps somehow, Ralph heard Matt mutter to himself. "Now maybe I can get to sleep." I guess I showed you, thought Ralph grimly, as he mounted his motorcycle and sped off down the open road, off into the dark and scary night. So long, brothers, sisters, cousins, so long, Uncle Lester, so long, Matt. Ralph was on his way. Ralph bounced along the uneven driveway to the mountain highway, where he quickly discovered that one of the ribbons of concrete pressed smooth by passing tires made a good highway for a mouse. He then made an even more exciting discovery: gravity. With a good fast start, he could coast downhill with amazing speed. The halls of the Mountain View Inn were never like this. Ralph sped through a night that fulfilled his dreams of freedom. It was a night of danger and adventure. Once, when Ralph was frightened by the headlights of an approaching car, he swerved to the side of the road, where he and his motorcycle were caught in the backdraft of the passing car and tumbled about like old gum wrappers and tossed into the weeds. Afterwards, Ralph was alert when he heard a car approaching and got off the road and clung to a weed until the car roared past.